In Chapter 24, Lesson 1 and Lesson 2, we're going to start looking at different sexually transmitted diseases that are out there. Now, we're going to use the word sexually transmitted disease interchangeable with the term sexually transmitted infection. An infection is probably a better word just because it's a more short-term treatable option. Some of these diseases are treatable and some of them are even curable. Others are not. So that's where the words kind of become interchangeable. Also, this is not the probably everyone's favorite subject or topic, but at the teenage years, it's incredibly important to understand that love and sex can go hand in hand, and certainly we know that the reason that we're all here today is because two people engage in sexual intercourse. We can't negate that fact, uh, nor should we, dismiss the fact that many people are going to be sexually active or already are at the teenage years, and it's just important to be careful and know what's out there to protect yourself the best from being, from something that can get you sick, and certainly something that can cause a problem for you later in life with infertility and your relationships. All right, obviously to start, we're going to define these. STDs are sexually transmitted diseases or infections spread from person to person through sexual contact. You look at the definition, sexually transmitted. We're not talking about illnesses that are caused by sharing a water bottle, a fork, or food, or things like that through sexual contact. STI is a sexually transmitted infection and easily transmitted from one person to another. Must engage in sexual activity that involves direct genital contact or exchange of semen or other body fluids with someone infected with an STD. So again, it's not like the other communicable diseases that we've discussed so far in this unit. Now, if we look at the causes, if you think back to chapter 23, lesson 1, we talked about the different communicable diseases, specifically the pathogens that exist, viruses, bacteria, protozoans, and etc. Most of these are going to come from bacterial infections and can be cured with medication. There are some that are caused by viruses and are incurable, ones that are with you your entire life and have different flare-ups or have stages where they're asymptomatic, where you don't see any real evidence of the person having them. Early diagnosis and treatment are crucial to controlling or curing an STD. It's going to be something that could cause some embarrassment. Someone might not know what to do, but it is important to go to the doctor, get it checked out, and make sure that you can get the medicine, get the treatment that is necessary to decrease flare ups, decrease any suffering or pain that comes along with it. Now, depending on who you are, whether you're male or female, depending on the illness or infection that it is that you contract, there may or may not be any symptoms. We have a stage called asymptomatic where individuals show no symptoms or symptoms are mild and disappear after the onset of the infection, where it kind of comes and goes, and maybe you're a little relieved because it didn't seem as bad or you didn't suspect that it was a sexually transmitted infection when truthfully that's exactly what it was. This lack of symptoms makes STDs particularly dangerous. You may not realize that he or she is infected. The person may continue to engage in sexual contact with others and spread the illness. And certainly, if you were the person coming in contact with that person, they can spread it to you. Risk of contracting STD increases as number of sexual partners increase. So you imagine one person spreads this to two, two spreads it to four, so on and so forth. Females are more likely to suffer complications from STDs. Effects tend to be more serious in females than males. That's just bad luck for the women. But at the same time, men are the ones who need to get tested and checked to make sure that they aren't spreading these things, even if they show no symptoms or don't have any real serious problems or complications. All right, when we get into these, know that there are 25 STDs worldwide. 6 are considered the most common, and really most of these have come or evolved in the last 60, 70. The main ones we're going to hit on are genital HPV infections, chlamydia, genital herpes, gonorrhea, trichomoniasis, and syphilis. We'll start with genital HPV infections, one that seems to be more of a concern with females, but males are a big carrier of this. Again, typically asymptomatic, and there are vaccinations out there for it now, and most teenagers have received the shot, and it's something that we'll probably see less and less of as research confirms the vaccine. It's caused by the human papillomavirus, HPV, group of more than 100 kinds of viruses. 30 are transmitted through sexual contact. So like the cold or the flu, there's more than just one particular virus out there that people can get, and it can kind of change depending on the seasons. HPV infections can cause genital warts, which appear as bumps or growths near or on the genitals, both male and female, may result in certain types of cervical cancer. So again, something that can evolve into something much worse. Maybe it's a sore, a bump, a wart, whatever, something you can deal with, but certainly cervical cancer could prevent a female from having children. Maybe at the age of 16, that doesn't seem like a big deal, but at, a few years later when you want to start a family, that could be a real devastating blow. A vaccine, again, like I said, is available for protection. It's not a cure, but recommended to reduce the number of cases of cervical cancer. The next one is chlamydia. This is a bacterial infection. It affects reproductive organs in both males and females. So again, this is something that could be treated with antibiotics, affecting young females 3 times more than males, and it's the most common STD amongst teenagers. Now, if you look at the chart on the right here, you can see that we're looking at really the age of 15 to even all the way up to 30. We see the highest spikes in instances. We know this is when people are sexually active and often not using protection and often having multiple sexual partners. So something that is a big concern at an age where people are a little bit less responsible. Continuing with chlamydia, females can develop pelvic inflammatory disease, or PID, and suffer chronic pelvic pain or infertility. Again, the inability to have children. We do see the inability to have children in males as well. Pregnant females can deliver prematurely, and infants born to infected mothers may develop eye disease or pneumonia, as well as fatal complications. So, again, something that can be passed from a pregnant female to a child, and a big concern. We certainly don't want to put the children at risk from a mistake made with a sexual partner, or just some bad luck that was dealt by someone who didn't know who they were having sexual intercourse with. Females are 5 more times more likely to become infected with HIV if exposed to the virus. So it's going to, it's definitely can lead to and allow for HIV to get into your system and multiply and become a problem more quickly than other illnesses. Genital herpes, one that's commonly heard of. There are a couple different types of herpes, and it is caused by the herpes simplex virus. The first type, herpes simplex 1, usually causes cold sores in and near the mouth. So we have to kind of separate the two here, where a cold sore doesn't mean you're sexually active, doesn't mean you have an STD. They can be transmitted that way, but we probably all know people who have cold sores, similar type of symptom, but we see it on the genitals when it comes to herpes simplex 2, which is the one that's caused by sexual contact and that type of behavior. Most are unaware they have the infection, and a lot of people who do get a cold sore realize it's not a life-threatening illness. It's just something that's more of an inconvenience or a little bit painful from time to time. Typically, the first outbreak will appear as blisters on genitals or the rectum within 2 weeks of the virus being transmitted, so fairly quickly. Blisters break, leaving sores that can take several weeks to heal. First sores are followed by shorter, less severe outbreaks that can occur on and off for years. There's a joke out there that herpes is the gift that keeps on giving, because this is one that is not curable and can come back over and over and over again. There are antiviral treatments that can lessen the frequency of the outbreaks, but there is no cure. This is one that we certainly want to, this is the reason why we even study STDs or for illnesses like this that we can't get rid of. And Continuing on with gonorrhea now. Gonorrhea is a bacterial STD. It usually affects the mucous membrane. So it could be the penis, the vagina, different parts of the body. It's the second most common reported infectious disease in the United States in terms of a sexually transmitted one. Many males are asymptomatic. Again, females are going to be the ones that typically show the symptoms. But sometimes females only show mild symptoms. And if it's left untreated, can cause severe health problems, again, such as infertility. Females can pass infection to babies during childbirth, and babies may contract eye infections that cause blindness. The unfortunate part is we have control over our own actions, and some people are willing to hold themselves accountable for their own actions. But when children are at risk and they don't have any say in the matter, that's really unfortunate, and that's really a sad situation. So we certainly want to protect ourselves to protect our future children. Trichomoniasis is another STD that we don't hear as much about, but it's caused by a microscopic protozoan that results in infections of the vagina, the urethra, and the bladder. May not produce symptoms. Some males have temporary irritation inside the penis, mild discharge, or slight burning during and after urination or ejaculation. Females often experience vaginitis, which is an inflammation of the vagina, characterized by discharge, odor, irritation, and itching. So again, we do see symptoms in both when there are symptoms, but again, there very well could be asymptomatic, where somebody is spreading it without knowing they even have it. Syphilis is the last one we're going to discuss here. Syphilis is an infection caused by small bacterium, where bacteria cause a spirochete. Attacks many different parts of the body. It develops sores in the genital area lasting a couple of weeks, and can be passed from one person to another by direct contact with the sores during sexual activity. There's some stages that people are going to experience when they go through syphilis here. And here they are, progressing through 3 different stages. The first stage is going to be the primary stage. This is where sores appear on the external genitals or the vagina, and at this stage, the disease can be easily transmitted. So you imagine any discharge from those particular sores coming in contact with someone else certainly could pass it from easily to the next person. The second stage is where the infection produces a skin rash, which if it goes untreated, the rash will disappear, but infection remains. And then it progresses to the third stage, where it can damage internal organs, cause brain dementia, and may even cause death. So again, this bacteria kind of starts to spread throughout the body, affecting different parts and becoming a big problem elsewhere. When we look at the list of these STDs that are out there, we certainly see a problem, to the point where we call it an epidemic. And the U.S. is facing an STD epidemic. We certainly know that teenagers or young adults, or adults in general for that matter, are making poor decisions with their bodies related to sexual activity and spreading these things around. The Center for Disease Control estimates each year 19 million people are infected with an STD. Now, that's a pretty big number, considering we only have about 310 million Americans in this country. And almost half of those are under the age of 24. So we're certainly talking about the high school and college age level, students and kids. Any STD cases that go undiagnosed and untreated because of a lot of different reasons. A lot of people are embarrassed or fearful of being given that bad news, or going to the doctor, or facing their parents or their sexual partners, boyfriend, girlfriend, you name it. Or it could be because of lack of symptoms. It's asymptomatic. They don't think they or know that they have anything. I mean, I'm not going to go get checked out for something that hasn't bothered me. It's pretty simple. Or misinformation. Maybe somebody tells you that, oh, it's not a big deal, or it's this, it's that, you can ignore it, or don't worry, that's going to go away. Yeah, I had something like that too. Or you go to a website that isn't giving you the best information that a doctor or physician would update you with. And notification policies. We don't have any mandates that say you have to notify a doctor or health service about these things. Ideally, we probably should, to protect people who are out there.